What's up, everybody? It's Julian from the Draft Lives here, and today I'm going to be doing a team-centric mock draft for the Las Vegas Raiders. Start off by looking at the roster, what free agents they have upcoming, how much money they'll have, and then we'll jump into the mock draft on the PFF simulator. So we'll start off with looking at the free agent list. Obviously, when you don't have a talented team such as the Raiders, you're not going to have the greatest or most devastating free agents. Top two, I don't think they'll sign Malcolm Koonce. Coming off the leg injury, he wasn't great this year, but they might decide to take another one-year flyer on him, see if he could regain his 2023 form. Carlson's been a very consistently good kicker. I'm sure he'll get a contract extension. And then we hit a little tough streak here. Pickett, Stokes, Roberts, Johnson, Mostert. I don't think these guys will be staying in Las Vegas. Obviously you could take a shot at one of them. They're not great. Dylan Parham is a starting caliber player in the NFL, but he's not very good. When it comes to Bobbin Moyer, he's a long snapper. I'm sure you could re-sign him. Jamal Adams, he was there just because of Pete Carroll, and if you did not know, Pete Carroll was fired the morning of the day I'm recording this video. Same thing with Tyler Lockett. These two are probably gone. Darnay Holmes doesn't have much playing time on this team, but when he played, I don't think he was horrible. But again, it's going to be a new regime. The coaches might not care for him. Same thing with Devin White. Even though he was productive at tackling, he's not great in coverage. He never has been. So I don't think he'll be re-signed either. Stone Forsythe's horrible. And then we just keep getting in the worse and worse. When it comes to the restricted free agents, you more than likely will keep. They're very cheap. So someone like Thomas Booker, Jordan Meredith, Kyu Blu Kelly, and Tristan McCollum, I'm sure they'll stay on the roster. I don't see a reason to let them go. They're restricted. They'll be very cheap. And Blu Kelly, even though he's not a good corner, I'm sure he's a great depth piece. These are the players that are on the roster projected for next year. Obviously, free agents are not included. One thing about the Raiders is they do have the second most cap space in the NFL next year, and that's very good. It's not the best free agent class. It rarely is. When it comes to the active roster, you see the players that you like. I'm not sure how many will be on the roster next year. Guys like Alex Kappa might stay on the roster, but he's an older player, and this team should not be going in the older player direction. I do want to talk about Geno Smith. I'm very sure he's not going to be on the roster next year. If he's cut this year, you designate him. The dead cap in 2026, which is this year, will be 18 million. They do have a decent amount of dead cap already on the docket. They could try and trade him, but I doubt there's going to be a suitor. Geno Smith was very bad this year. He's an aging player on a bad contract. He's definitely going to be released. You can designate two players for post June 1st cuts. I'm sure he'll be one of them. As we said, they don't have really many players to cut outside of maybe Alex Kappa. Now this is the free agent list, projected free agents for this upcoming March. This is a team that will likely go QB first overall, spoiler for the mock draft. But someone they do need is probably a veteran receiver. This is the list right here. With the second most cap room in the league, I'm sure that they can sign anyone they wanted. This isn't in order of like talent, obviously. This is just the way the website lists them. Someone like Christian Kirk, they don't really need. Debo, they don't really need, as they have Trey Tucker, who's very good after the catch, and Jack Besh, he could play in the slot. It would be someone like Juwan Jennings, could get a nice contract from the Raiders. If someone like George Pickens hits the open market, I'm sure they would pounce on that. Same with Pierce. I think he would hit the open market, but they did trade Adonai Mitchell earlier in the year, so they might try and make that happen where the Colts extend Alec Pierce. The Raiders also badly need cornerback. Guys like Jamel Dean is going to hit the open market. Amik Robertson could come back to Las Vegas. Kader Kohou could be a fit here, could play in the slot or the outside. But again, it's not great. You don't have great players all over the place. Someone like Igbenogany can be a sneaky player. Cam Taylor-Britt, try and get his career back on track. But again, with the most cap room, you could take a lot of flyers on this, but there's no big splash I really see them doing. So heading into this mock draft, what are the team needs? Well, obviously QB, because I do not anticipate Geno Smith being on the roster. Offensive guard, cornerback, safety, potentially edge rusher, as Tyree Wilson did have a good game against the Chiefs backups, but he wasn't particularly great. Linebacker will be a need, but with the Raiders only having 3 picks in this mock draft, as it's only going to be a 3-round mock draft on the PFF simulator, I'm not sure if we'll be able to get to the linebacker position. They can just re-sign Devin White or sign someone in free agency. But enough talking, let's get into it. So obviously PFF will list the team needs. Pretty much everything is a team need. There is 3 picks in this mock draft, as we're only going to do 3 rounds. These are the 3 most important rounds, but if you want to look at all the Raiders picks, here they are. They do have 102, 128, 134, which could be very valuable. as again, when you're a bad team, later round picks can start. 174, 184, 219 can be depth, and then any trades that they decide to do in April, I guess we'll find out. But I don't see them trading away from the first pick. They very badly need a QB, so obviously we're going to go Fernando Mendoza. Fernando Mendoza is a great player. He won the Heisman. He's still in the playoffs. There's technically no guarantee that he enters the draft, but I'm sure he will. First overall pick. Does he fit the Raiders' current system? Well, we won't know because they just fired their head coach and Pete Carroll. But pair him up with Ashton Jeanty. You have good receivers. You have Brock Bowers. I mean, he has some weapons to throw to. And if you bring in a head coach with like a little bit of RPO experience, that's a lot of what he ran at Indiana. And clearly he ran it well. 91 PFF grade, 36 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. I mean, if you just look at the jump, every single year he started, I mean, he was great at California, a lot of potential, and now he's really become that high ceiling player that everyone thought he could be. And now as we approach round 2 for the Raiders, let's see the players that they missed out on. Edge rusher, receiver, tight end. Someone like Caleb Lomu could have been great if he fell to round 2. I don't anticipate him doing that in real life. But here we are at pick 36. If you did not know, the first overall pick doesn't get the first overall pick in every round. They alternate with the teams that have the same record as them. So all these teams had the same record, and now they alternate picks. Now it's the Jets that have the first, the Cardinals will have the second, and that goes on for round 3 as well. All right, so in round 2, there are some options. I do want to look at the offensive line. They did draft Caleb Rogers last year. Anthony Hill is here, and like I said, they do need linebacker. Someone like Keontae Scott could be a very lethal slot corner for them. And someone like Keelan Rutledge, I'm sure he could be a very good player. He's a great run blocker. I don't know if he's second round material. I'm sure we could probably get him in the third round or even later. Someone like Austin Zierveld is interesting. He does project as a guard. He was a guard last year for Ohio State. He did just get destroyed by the Miami edge duo in Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor. I'm sure it hurts to see that, but again, he's playing tackle. He's an NFL guard. Smaller arms, smaller stature, not the most athletic, but he has a nasty streak in the run game. I'm leaning towards this, but they did draft 2 guards back to back last year in Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant out of William and Mary. My decision is final. I'm going Keontae Scott. He's been on a tear recently, a pick 6 against Ohio State. Very good instincts. Most likely a slot corner in the NFL, but that doesn't really matter as the Raiders don't really have much. They have Jeremy Chin who plays in the slot, but you can move him back in the box or a true safety role. You signed him to a deal. I mean, you don't need to play him in the slot. Keontae Scott's way better suited. He's a way better man coverage player, and you don't want to be pigeonholed to just zone or make it obvious that you're running zone if you have Jeremy Chin in the slot position pressed up. Now, round 3 here for the Raiders. This could be another impact player. I see that they have receiver listed. I know they need receiver, but I'm sure a combination of Trey Tucker, Jack Bech, Dante Thornton, and a veteran will get the job done. Plus, they have Brock Bowers. I think I'm going to go Blake Miller here. He can either play guard or tackle in his first year. I think you can stick him at tackle, and he could be a very good player for you. Colton Miller and Blake Miller. 2 Millers. That could be a great way to start your offense and start the franchise off. This is obviously going to be a very difficult rebuild for the Las Vegas Raiders, but if you go ahead and grab Fernando Mendoza, Keontae Scott, and Blake Miller, I'm sure that it's a good start. When you look at the roster, look based on this first 3-round mock draft, yeah, you have a franchise QB in Mendoza. You have Ashton Jeanty. Your receivers, like I said, Trey Tucker, Jack Bech, Dante Thornton, and probably a veteran, potentially someone like Juwan Jennings, as I said. When you have tight end, you have Brock Bowers. Offensive line, 2 great tackles in the Millers. Potentially re-signing Dylan Parham, I'm not sure about that, but at center you do have Jackson Powers Johnson, and that's a very good player. And defense is where it gets difficult. If you're able to retain Max Crosby, he says he wants to be a Raider for life. You just have to believe him. If you have Max Crosby, Adam Butler, yeah, you'll need a defensive tackle. You can either sign one or, again, draft one in the later rounds, round 4 or 5. At linebacker 2, maybe make a big splash trade or a free agent signing. You could retain Devin White. I'm sure Raiders fans hate him, but that team was just a mess from top to bottom. Can't really blame Devin White. He was a very good tackler for them in the middle. He just can't really cover. And at corner, now you have a 3rd-round rookie, Darian Porter, from last year out of Iowa State. Pair him up with potentially a veteran and Keontae Scott, and that's a very good trio. Plus, you have Jeremy Chin at safety. So this team, I didn't rebuild this team overnight, but they could be very good, especially with the first pick. Now that's a franchise-changing player, just as Ashton Jeanty said. So Fernando Mendoza at 1, Keontae Scott, and Blake Miller. Those are my 3 picks for this mock draft. I'm probably going to be doing the teams in order, but if anyone wants to see a mock draft for their team, you could let me know down below. And that's about it. Thank you.